Hi everyone, it's Karen and I'm back to share my second design team project for the month of September for AngeldreamCraftsKim on Etsy. I will leave links to the Etsy shop and the Facebook group and the Instagram as well for AngeldreamCraftsKim, so you can go over and check out the shop and be inspired by some of the posts on Facebook and in Instagram. And I will also leave links to the design team, and so you can go over and see the beautiful projects that they're creating with products from Kim's shop. She has such a variety of things: laces, trims, charms, buttons, just so many things that you can craft with and make beautiful projects with. So please go over and check out her shop. So for my second project, I designed two small wall hangings. This one's about 6 by 8, I think, and this one's a little bit, they're actually the same size as far as the starting off point for the design, but this one, because I used a trim on the outside, it makes it wider. And this one, it's all this, the lace and everything is contained within the actual size of the original image that I downloaded. This one's about 5 inches wide, I think. And I just had so much fun creating these with her, the products from her store, and then some things from my stash as well. And I'm going to move the blue one aside, and I'm going to start with the pink one. This was part of a digital download. It's actually a journaling page, and this was the entire page was with the birds and the little girl. And so I used both pieces. I printed it on this beautiful silky fabric that I purchased the sheets on Amazon, and it prints beautifully on there with my simple printer. I have nothing fancy. And then I added this cute little necklace with some pink thread and some little white beads. And I also did some embroidery stitching, added some pink stitches here, and also some stitches and some French knots around the flower here, just to give it a little bit more interest. And then I used the beautiful, it's backed on a piece of cotton fabric, and then there's a bit of a curtain lace here on the back. And then there's a little bit of Kim's trim lace here, and also on all around the edges here, I trimmed it with one of the laces that was in my design team package. And then this pink applique is all from Kim's shop from my design team package, and I embellished it further with some beads that I stitched on with some pink thread and also a few little blings. The white is some Battenberg lace from my stash. And then at the bottom, I used this beautiful lace that was in my design team package that I made a flower with on my first design team project. I also used it here sort of as more of a dangle trim. And then I used another one of her laces below that for another trim on there. It has a beautiful scallop on it. And then I used the fringe that was in my design team package again for part of the bottom of this cute little wall hanging. And then this is that 4-inch lace that was in my design team package, and I used that whole the 4 inches, some of it's tucked up behind, and then added a few little blings on the bottom there. And so that created a good like 3 inches extra on the bottom of this wall hanging. And then with that this lace here with the beautiful scallop on it, I also just gathered it and made a little flower. And to get the flower to lie down, because they tend to spring up, you just nick with your scissors just in between the scallops enough to make the gathering so that the flower lays flatter. I used one of her beautiful wooden buttons with the flowers on them, and I stitched that there in the center of the flower with some embroidery floss. And then I added in a couple more little gathered bits of lace here with the applique in the middle, tucked in here, and one here I gathered a bit of lace and tucked it in there, and another one here to make it look like there was sort of a collection of flowers in the corner here. These aren't even full pieces of lace, they're just partial bits of lace that I gathered, and then you add the center in them, and then the way you tuck them together, they look like a whole entire flower, but they're actually just little bits of lace. And then again, there's beads added onto the applique here. I just thought it added a little bit more sparkle. They're just a clear bead. And then I stitched them on with a pink thread. Oh, excuse my little Georgie there. He thinks he hears something. And it sort of gives the white bead a bit of a pink hue as well when you stitch it on that way. And then I had the other half of the page left from that digital download, and it had the birds on it. So I decided to pull a few more things out of my stash and some more of my laces that I had actually from previous design team packages. I keep everything that I get separate. So I created this little wall hanging. Again, I just started with a piece of cotton and a bit of curtaining on the back to give it some stability. And on both of them, there's some felt behind the actual digital download, which is again printed on that silky fabric. This one I added in French knots in the dark blue in the middle of this flower, of these flowers. I added some pistol stitches here in a lighter blue. And again, texture and just adding more interest. This beautiful blue trim around the edge of this digital download and on this little wall hanging is a beautiful trim from Kim's shop. It's a vintage trim. It's absolutely gorgeous. It has beautiful detailing stitching on it and the cut work in it as well. And then the appliques were actually from my stash, so that's what I added in the top here. And then on the sides and a little bit coming out here. And then some, the centers cut out of some of the doilies from Kim's doily pack. I just cut out the center piece and used that to create these three little doily flowers here. And then this is one of the doily flowers that was also in her shop at one time, and I still had one tucked away, and I used that. And then I gathered some lace that was in my current design team package and created the inner part of that, and then used another one of the wooden buttons to make the center on that flower. And I added just some blue embroidery floss in the middle of that. And these buttons are in her shop, and they are just so pretty. They have a beautiful kind of bit of a finish on them, and the flower detail colors is so pretty. And then on the bottom of this one, I used some of her gorgeous dangle trim that she still has in the shop, one of my favorites. It's just so, so pretty. And then underneath that, these flowers are actually part of another dangle trim that has these dangles on it. And this is one that I had in my stash still from some time ago, and I just had that little piece left, and it fit on the bottom of there just perfectly. And then I added in the blue flat backs in the middle of those flowers. And then this is part of an applique I had that I cut apart, very similar to a cream one that I had from Kim's shop. And Kim does get the appliques in, like the pink one is one of them ones she has right now, and she's always getting new appliques in the shop, so you got to check frequently. And then I just added one of my little beaded butterflies up in the corner here on this one, just to add a little extra. And then they both just have a ribbon. This one has a iridescent ribbon hanger on it, and this one has a bit of crinkled seam binding so that they're easy to hang up. And I think they would look just perfect hung up anywhere in your home to add a little bit of color. And I'm really pleased with how they turned out, and I just love using the supplies that Kim sends me in my design team packages. I thank you, Kim, for allowing me to design on your team, and I hope you guys will all go over and check out the shop and buy some goodies for yourself, and check out the other designers, and you'll find lots of inspiration amongst these talented ladies that I am part of this team. So I thank you all for stopping by and for checking out my latest design team project, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye for now.